They say, till death do us apart. But what it is when death brings us together? This subgenre always makes for the most interesting of films simply because death is such a common occurrence that every person in every corner of the world would have some story to tell, feeling to share, emotion to suppress, and a secret that they take to the grave. And it is one such impending death that brings us a wonderful film that talks about the burden of being a woman in a world that never allows the women to talk about the weight they carry. Vanakkam and welcome to Cinema Express. This is Avinash Ramachandran, and in this video review episode, we are going to discuss director Jeejivisha Kale's Marathi film Tighee, starring Bharati Achrekar, Nehha Pendse, Sonalee Kulkarni, and a bunch of other actors. Also, this review will contain spoilers, so kindly watch it at your own discretion. I'll be honest here. The reason why Tighee came into my radar is the presence of Nehha Pendse, who has also backed the film. She is someone who made one of her earliest acting appearances in this Tamil film called Maunam Pesiyade, which is a personal favorite and was also re-released recently in February. So it is a wonderful sense of nostalgia. Nevertheless, Tighee is an excellent exploration of death, love, loss, and longing, and it deals with all of these themes with such unbelievable lightness that it is this nonchalance that overwhelms us. The film opens on a pristine beach and two women standing quite far from a man, and a voiceover that talks about how a woman would go to any depths to ensure her children are comfortable. Who are these two women? Who is that man? Who is the woman who's ready to for a fight at all times? These are the answers that unfold in a rather unhurried fashion over the next 100 odd minutes. And we are given a fly-on-the-wall view into the lives of three women: Hemlata, played by Bharati Achrekar; Swati, played by Nehha Pendse; and Sarika, who's played by Sonalee Kulkarni. It is beautiful how the writing and staging of the film never allows anyone but one of these women to be the center of things. Despite having multiple male characters playing pivotal roles in their lives, there is never a moment when the focus is not on one of these three women. It is such a marked departure from the usual way of handling such scenes. When Hemlata is diagnosed with cancer and is given an ultimatum, it brings Swati back from her tumultuous life in Mumbai to the relative quietness of Pune, which in fact feels even more loud because she carries a couple of secrets that are eating her from the inside. Sarika, the daughter who was left back in the city, is struggling to come to terms with her mother's illness, her sister's selfishness, and her own dreams and exploration, including not just a bright career but a simple date with the boy she might like. These layers are bubbling under the surface of many tense exchanges between these three women who somehow find a way to laugh a little, cry a little, smile a little, and struggle a little, but never once are bogged down by what life has to offer. It is interesting how none of them actually look for support till they reach a particular point. They are so independent that asking for help feels such a betrayal of their strengths, and it takes them time to come to terms with the idea of family. But again, this isn't shown as some final illuminating conversation or something that is the only aspect that is keeping them bogged down. The women are shown to be masters of their own decisions, and they live through the consequences of it all. And it takes them immense resolve to accept certain things and not accept certain things. And it is beautiful how all three women have their own versions of what it is to be what it is to live a dignified life, and all these three are right in their own way. The writing never makes you judge the characters, and they never judge each other too. This subtle understanding of each other, despite the various gaps and cracks in their equations, comes through a random touch to the cheek, a sudden act of feeding each other, hugging it out like kids craving for attention, and just a teardrop that is born out of a smile reaching the edge of their eyes. And even when all the secrets stumble out of the closet one after another, it isn't because of a meltdown, but simply because the matriarch understands that life is cyclical and mistakes will be repeated unless they realize it is a mistake. Every conversation that leads the three of them to this final consensus is wonderfully understated, and it makes one believe that one person's reasoning might not necessarily make sense to another, but it's important that people are allowed to make their own decisions. The warmth of Pune and the beautiful house that stays as the sole survivor in a society that has given space to modernism and financial benefits is a wonderful touch because it sticks to the age-old template that people is what make house a home, and everyone migrate to various places with a strong belief that they can come back to the place they would like to call home. And on the performances front, this is one of the most well-acted ensemble in recent times. Each of these actors get an individual scene to shine bright, and they are resplendent in it. And they have combination scenes where they complement each other and allow the story to shine through without resorting to, let's say, a game of showmanship. Take, for instance, the scene where Hemlata talks about settling down in a hospice, or the achingly beautiful scene where Swati and her husband share a hug in public. See, when her husband Malhar breaks down in a way that not many men are allowed to break down in our films, it's a powerful reminder that marriage and love is super complicated, and it is only the people involved in relationship who know what they do and why they do what they do. That scene was super powerful, and the only scene where the three women break down together is not a scene where they're emotionally under duress, but one where they cry in strength. When they cry, you don't feel bad for them, but it shows that tears are empowering too. Basically, Tighee is a film that is so light despite the overwhelming heaviness of the central plot. It isn't a film that wants to make you an emotional mess, but it wants you to introspect and see if you can find a sense of empathy, not just for the characters, but for yourself. Because sometimes a film exists not as a lesson or a preachy message, but a warm hug that lets you know that things will be alright. That's it from this video review episode. Do like, share, and subscribe to Cinema Express, and do let us know what you thought of the film and the review. And until we meet in the next episode, this is your friendly neighborhood critic, Avinash Ramachandran, signing off.